Almost all of us love sweets, but few think about what our favorite candies and lollipops are made of. How, for example, are cookies made? And how are delicious chocolate bars and caramel made? Let's find out together. This is Infinity, and today I'll show you production processes of sweets that you'll see for the first time in your life. Let's go. Marshmallow. In the past few decades, marshmallows have taken over almost the entire world. The production of this treat is growing exponentially. The soft sweets roasted over a fire have become a kind of symbol of coziness. But did you know that marshmallows originally came on the market as a cure for angina? Marshmallow was an important ingredient until the drug was found to be ineffective. But production wasn't stopped because both children and adults liked the product too much. In the 1960s, marshmallow was replaced with gelatin and starch, and the sweet began to appear on the shelves across the United States. Many people are used to calling marshmallow a Zephyr, but is it really? Not really. Zephyr is made from fruit puree and egg whites using natural thickeners. But marshmallow consists of gelatin, which is soaked in water, whipped with corn syrup and sugar. Then colorings and flavorings are added, and the whole treat is sprinkled with starch. There's no applesauce or egg white in it. Sometimes, however, fruit puree is still included. For example, in cases where you want to produce multicolored marshmallows. Cookies. There are dozens or even hundreds of varieties of cookies in the modern baking market. New versions keep appearing every day, and new shapes and tastes keep being invented in pursuit of consumers' preferences. However, there are a lot of favorite classics on the market which obviously will not soon leave the shelves. For example, Kurabiya cookies, which are very popular in CIS countries, in fact come from the East. Usually, this Azerbaijani shortbread cookie is made in the form of a flour, shell, or stick. The technology of making these sweets is relatively simple. The butter is melted with sugar until the crystals dissolve, egg whites are gradually added, and then flour is added. The dough is kneaded at a certain temperature, not higher than 18 to 28 degrees Celsius. The ready dough goes to the workshop, where portions are then squeezed out of a confectionery bag with a serrated nozzle. In large factories, robotic machines are capable of making dozens or hundreds of such flours per minute. In fact, the same machine is capable of making completely different kinds of cookies if you switch different programs. In this case, the chamomile-shaped cookies have a small cavity in the middle, which is filled with fruit puree or jam after baking. Cakes. But when it comes to making cakes, you can't do without manual labor. When factory cakes first appeared on the shelves, they were sold out almost immediately, but now manual labor has become more valuable again. In recent years, many large industries have begun to rely on handwork again. But of course, we can't do without machines as well. They do the necessary steps at the initial stages, kneading the dough, shaping, and cutting the finished cakes. But it's much more fascinating to watch the decoration of cakes, because the main feature of this sweet is its appearance. For artistic decorations in large confectionery shops, ready-made, semi-finished products are used mainly. They give the products a pleasant appearance, taste, and aroma. A large variety of semi-finished products come down to the following types: creams, fruit, and berry semi-finished products, marzipan, sprinkles, and more. The most important element of the decoration is cream, of course. It's a plastic foamy mass. Raw materials for the preparation of creams are melange or egg whites, butter, cream with the addition of granulated sugar, milk, flavors, and fragrance. When whipping these types of raw materials, the mass becomes fluffy due to the saturation with air. Kit Kat. The Kit Kat trademark dates back to 1911, but the product began to appear on the shelves later. Initially, the manufacturer produced the sweet in the form of a box of chocolates. Only in 1935 it was decided to change the concept, and consumers were introduced to a new concept: a wafer coated with chocolate divided into 4 sections, or fingers as they were called by the creator. The production of the chocolate bars is divided into several stages: making a semi-finished wafer product, molding of the chocolate, and its packaging. A certain shop is designed for each of the stages. Making of waffle begins with the preparation of dough. It's pre-mixed in a separate container. The dough is poured into the molds for baking waffle sheets. Then the sheets go under the press. After cooling, the waffles are cut into semi-finished products of the desired size and sent to the molding line. This is how the wafer sheets, moving along the conveyor belt, get to the workshop, where they become the filling for the chocolate bar. The molding of the candy begins with the formation of the crust. For that to happen, some of the chocolate's poured into the mold. Next, wafers are placed in the mold with the crust. Then they go under the press, and then these molds are filled with chocolate. The final step of the production process is to chill the chocolate bars in the refrigerator. After the chocolate with the waffles semi-finished product is frozen, it's removed from the molds. The chocolate bars enter the packaging area where their journey ends. From here, the packaged goods go straight to the store shelves. Want to know even more interesting facts? Then stay tuned. All the coolest details about other sweets and their production are further in this episode. Let's move on. Honey. We're familiar with the initial stages of natural honey production. After all, everyone knows that many people's favorite healthy sweet is made by bees, right? But how do huge amounts of honey move from hives to jars on store shelves? Setting up the hives, populating the bees, and waiting for the harvest are the same as they were 100 years before our time. Significant differences can be seen only at the stage of receiving the finished frames. They're sent straight to production premises from the large apiaries. Honey harvesting is the most labor-intensive operation in beekeeping. It's performed from 1 to 3 times during the summer season. To improve product quality, it's not recommended to take honey from the bottom of the hive. Their products of bee life, including an increased concentration of medicines, accumulate. First of all, the sealed honeycombs in the frames are opened. After that, the open frames are inserted into the honey extractor, where the honey flies out of the cells by centrifugal force, hits the walls, and flows down. After a sufficient amount of honey is accumulated at the bottom, it's poured into containers and passed through a sieve to prevent bees, larvae, and bits of wax from getting in. However, large-scale honey manufacturers rarely limit themselves to just producing a pure product. Honey is not the cheapest product. Plus, even more profitable are the accompanying bee products: bee glue, royal jelly, and pollen. The demand for these products is constantly growing in various industries and spheres, such as pharmaceuticals and cosmetology. Licorices. The homeland of licorices is considered to be England, the county of West Yorkshire, the town of Pontefract. It's unknown how licorices got there. It may have been brought to England by crusaders of Dominican monks who settled there in the 14th century. The climate in West Yorkshire was too cold and licorice didn't flower there, but it formed roots and rhizomes. Within a few decades, all the surrounding fields were overgrown with it. By the beginning of the 17th century, the town had established the production of small cakes made from licorice extract, which were taken as medicine. But the treats contained sugar, so it was decided to dub them sweets. They quickly became popular, and soon licorice's production factories began to operate at full capacity. In the preparation process, all the ingredients are mixed, heated to 135 degrees Celsius, and then the liquid is poured into molds sprinkled with starchy powder. When it hardens, the resulting candies are sprayed with beeswax to make the surface shine, covered with icing sugar or chocolate, packaged and sent to store shelves. Candy canes. You may not recognize this sweet by the name, but you've certainly seen it in grocery stores more than once or twice. It's especially common during Christmas and New Year's holidays, and for good reason. The curved candy canes made from brightly colored strips first appeared in the West, where they managed to become one of the traditional symbols of Christmas. Typically, these colorful, striped candy canes are used to decorate Christmas trees, Christmas wreaths, and gingerbread houses. The first caramel candy canes appeared as early as 1670. Have they changed in modern times? Each version of these sweets were white sugar sticks, but by the mid-17th century, they'd taken the shape of canes and spread throughout Europe. They were made by pastry chefs who hand-pulled, cut, and twisted the treat and bent it into a cane later. The fragile sticks broke easily and deteriorated from humidity, so making them required a great deal of skill. Fortunately, progress has stepped forward, and now caramel canes are industrially produced on special machines. Candy canes became so popular across the West that in honor of them, they even invented a holiday, National Candy Cane Day, which is celebrated on December 26th. And during Christmas fairs, confectioners even hold competitions for making the longest and tastiest candy canes. That's all, guys. What are your most favorite sweets? Let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and see you later.